Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for following me and listening to my stories. I am so grateful for you. Happy 4th of July. I really hope that your July 4th was a great one and a safe one. I'm just so thankful for all of you. Thank you so much for following me and subscribing and liking and commenting and doing all the things that you do and pressing all the buttons. I really appreciate it. Today, I'm going to talk about um, just some things that happened in the house that flooded. So if you want to go back and watch some of the episodes, if you've missed them, um, then you'll understand more. But yeah, so the house on Capitol Highway um, in Oregon that was flooded by my father. These were just some of the memories that I remember prior, obviously. And so it's kind of interesting. One of the memories I remember was one time a friend of my parents came over, and she was a really good friend of my mom's for years. And she was visiting at our house, and um, I ended up jumping in the car. My grandma was there as well, and the hilarious thing is I remember both of them having like these big, huge boat cars. Like, um, my grandma had this yellow LTD. It was like really big and wide. And I remember she had a very big car too. I don't remember what it was. It was a very big car. And we had a really curvy driveway. So it was like up on a hill and the driveway curved back and forth. Well, below that, we had like horseshoes and different things to do. There was like on the little acreage, there was like a little stream that went through it. There was also like a ton of bamboo, and that was all on one side. And then the other side, and in the back, and on the other side, it was like more level, a playing area where my brother and I like to play in the yard when I could get out to play. I didn't go outside a ton. So anyway, my mom was talking to Betty, and I had jumped in the car with my grandma saying goodbye to her, and I didn't want her to leave. I just loved being around my grandma so much. So I jumped in the car with her, and then she got down to the bottom of the driveway, and I'm like, okay, bye, grandma, love you. And I got out of the car and started walking up the driveway. Well, it's so curvy that you definitely have to like turn around and watch where you're going. It's kind of like narrow and steep and curvy, and wasn't the best driveway. But so I was walking up. Well, I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of room on the side that I was on, and I couldn't be on the other side because it was a straight cliff up. And this side was like, went down into where the horseshoes were, and it was like a sand pit down there. And then there was the bamboo trees that me and my brother liked to play in. And so I'm walking up, and I'm noticing that as she is turning the corner, like the front end of her car is getting really, really close to me. So I managed to kind of try to creep by as she was going back, because no matter where I went, she would have hit me. Well, I thought I got by, and just as I was getting by, the bumper hit my bumper bottom, and I literally flew over the cliff. And thankfully, I landed in the sand down there. And the other weird thing is, I didn't get hurt. I was scared and a little sore, and I did cry, but I did not get hurt. And I kind of remember what the feeling like was to fly a little bit. I like literally flew over, and I remember putting my arms out. I remember kind of thinking, oh my word, like I'm going to die, and screaming, but not loud enough that she noticed. And I think my dad must have seen it or something, because he came flying over there and running down and picked me up. He thought that I was hurt for sure. I wasn't. I was completely fine, but that was the day that I flew. So another time was, and maybe I already told you about this. Me and my brother were playing, and it was in the summer, and he had taken these couch cushions, and I don't remember where he got them from, if it was an old couch or what happened. But anyway, he had like all the styrofoam, and he had gotten some gasoline, and he had thrown it up, and he was hitting it with a bat, lighting it on fire and making his own fireworks, and hit it with a bat. And I had went and was standing behind him watching his homemade fireworks, not thinking anything of it. Of course, I was thinking, oh my word, my brother's being dangerous, but that was pretty normal. So he grabs one, lights it on fire quickly, throws it up, grabs the bat that's in his other hand, and hits it. Well, something happened, and however he ended up hitting it, it flipped backwards and went straight in my face, and like this ball of fire just went in my face and totally burnt all my bangs off. And I mean, it was just poof, huge ball of flames in my face, and my bangs were gone, my eyebrows were pretty singed, the horrible smell of having burnt hair all over me. And he is like brushing me off and freaking out. And, oh, I'm so sorry, sis. I'm so sorry, sis. Oh my word. Oh my word. Don't tell mom, okay? Don't tell mom. I think she'll notice. But that was his plea. Please don't tell mom. Of course, I was like, I'm not going to tell mom. Well, I don't think I needed to tell mom. So that was another thing that happened there. Another thing that happened was the time that I was left home alone. I remember it very well. And it could be one of the other reasons why I think I have a little bit of like abandonment issues, maybe. I know I hate it when like people leave me or leave out of my life, which is inevitable. I mean, it seems like it always happens, but often at different times in my life, I felt like in one way or another, people have abandoned me. So I do have like issues with that, but this is what may have started it. I don't know. Oftentimes I had to take a nap every day. I hated them. I didn't want to take a nap, but it was like doctor recommendation for the fact that I had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And so from the time I was little, even up until I was like at least 10, 11, my grandma and my mom were always trying to make me take a nap, which I was like, I am not tired and I am not a little kid. I do not need to take a nap. Well, so this was before that. So I was probably 8 or 9 maybe. And my mom was like, just go lay down for a little while and rest, and you don't have to sleep, just rest. So I was like, fine, I was pretty used to it. I had to do it every day, except for when I was in school, or after I got out of school, I would come home and have to take a rest. But often my mom would make me. So anyway, I went and took a nap, and when I woke up, there was nobody there. I looked all over the house. I went upstairs to my mom and dad's room. I went to my brother's room. I went outside yelling. I ran downstairs yelling. I looked out the side door where we always parked, and there was nobody there. The car was gone. I couldn't even imagine what in the world happened to my family. There was times, because my dad believed in aliens, that, I mean, at that point in time, I thought, oh my word, aliens came and took my family and left me. What in the world am I going to do? But they had all decided to go grocery shopping. And because I was asleep, they didn't want to wake me, and they thought that they would be home before I woke up. So they all left and left me sleeping in the house. And when they got home, I was literally sobbing and bawling and crying and screaming, thinking they had gone and left forever. And I know I wasn't very old, because my mom and dad divorced when I was like 10. And so it was before that at some point. And I was just so upset. Like, why would you ever leave me? I don't care. Wake me up. Like, you couldn't have waited a few more minutes, or you couldn't have decided at a different time to go, or, two of you could have gone. You could have left Matthew there with me. Mom could have stayed. Something. Like, you all had to go. I just remember being so angry and so upset that they put me in that emotional turmoil of actually leaving me. I was very upset. I remember being upset. I remember like huffing and puffing afterwards and letting them definitely have it. I was so upset. And they were, of course, apologetic and didn't want me to be bawling so much, but hello, don't leave your child. So another time, and it sounds like I'm like complaining about my childhood. I'm not. And my parents were not abusive, and they treated me like a queen for the most part, especially my dad. My mom later in life definitely treated me like a princess, but just, sometimes the bad things stick with you. There was a lot of good times too. But so I remember this another time my grandma came over, because my grandma came over often. And I just loved my grandma so much. And I came into the kitchen and I seen my dad sitting there and standing there by the door, and he was kind of saying bye. And I said, "Who are you saying bye to?" And he said, "Grandma Anna." And I said, "Grandma's leaving?" And I hadn't realized that she was leaving at that point. So I didn't notice that he had something in his hand. And I ran as fast as I could to go say goodbye to her. And he had a soldering iron, and that soldering iron went right across my forehead. And I still have a little bit of the scar from it. And boy, that was quite the day. I remember he was so upset and he felt so bad. I don't even know if my grandma noticed, because it was before I could like hit the screen door and shove my way out, that he was kind of standing in the door just saying goodbye. And she was already looking backwards to go down that crazy curvy driveway. And he was putting ice on it, and he felt so bad. He was basically bawling with me. And my poor dad, I'm sure he felt so bad for that, because forever he's seen my forehead and seen that scar on my forehead. So that was a fun day. So I'm going to leave on an uplifting note. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital, and sometimes I felt like I knew the doctors more than my own family, because I did spend a lot of times going to physical therapy and going to the doctors. And sometimes I would end up in Shriners for a month here and a month there. So I really got to know a lot of the people there. And I was going to, at this point, my eyes were like really bad and I couldn't see very well. And they were telling me that they were going to have to do this surgery. Now, it was a laser surgery, and the only thing I had to do was keep my eye open. I can't remember what the surgery was for, but something in the back of my eye, my retina was detaching, or you know what? Honestly, I don't remember. I have uveitis and I had glaucoma and I had all kinds of things going on with my eyes. And so whatever was going on with my eyes at that point, I'm not quite sure. There's so many different diagnoses throughout the years. So I was sitting there at the doctor's office and I was really, really scared. And I just told my mom, I'm like, can we just pray? I would really like to pray because I am so scared about whatever they might do. And I just don't feel comfortable with them doing a laser. What if I like move and it wrecks? What if I can't sit there and stay still? What if it does something? I was so scared. And I was scared of, like when you're a kid, you see like Star Wars and stuff, and they have lasers, and lasers are not good. Nothing good happens from a laser. And they're going to put this in my eye? Like, what? So I was like, Mom, can we just pray? I just want to pray. And she's like, of course, honey. So she grabs my hands and I hold her hands tight and I just start praying. I said, I know you can heal me, Lord. I don't want to have this surgery and I know you can do it. And just show the doctors. Well, thankfully, they had done all the checks. They had left, gave me time to pray. I prayed all about it. When they came back in, God took care of it because he was like, the doctor was like, you know what? I'm just going to give one more check before we do the surgery. And, you don't have to worry about anything, but let's just do one more check first. I was like, okay. So they checked my eyes and then they checked my eyes again. And then they look at my eyes again. And he's like, pushes his chair back and he's like, you know what? I really don't understand what's going on here, but there's nothing wrong with your eyes. We do not need to do any laser surgery today or any surgery. Your eyes are completely healed. And you can go home. He goes, I do not know what happened here, but there was something wrong with your eyes when you first got here, and now there is not. I said, oh, I know what happened. I prayed and God healed them. It was such a wonderful day. And I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Happy Independence Day. Happy 250 years of freedom. Amen to our country, and God bless our country, and God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And do all the likes and shares and comments and press all the buttons. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.